Have you reached your genetic max? Okay, more controversial stuff. This is a fun one. Genetic max, term of phrase that's highly believed in out there in the fitness world. And from what I can tell from reading, seems to only apply to non-steroid users. Apparently they don't have a genetic max, but you do, and I do. That's interesting. Now I got several angles to analyze this from. I'm trying to decide which one to start. My experience, no, because in a world like this, ironically enough, that's the last thing people listen to is their own experience. They'd rather be told what to believe by someone outside themselves. So how about we reason together? Society as a whole likes to pretend that humanity's very logical, big on logic, okay? Now, I didn't realize it before I took an advanced logic IQ test, but the test I took, if you get one question right, you're considered unusual. And I got them all right on the advanced logic IQ test. So I'm not saying this to toot my own horn. It's just something I did one time when I was not really bored but interested in taking tests. But I'm saying it because we live in a society where people try to tell me I'm illogical, people who don't understand what logic is or how to use it. Let's use a little bit here. Show you guys an example. Alright. How many of you out there in the natural weightlifting, natural bodybuilding type fitness community believe in this concept of a genetic max? In other words, a level of muscle development where without taking drugs, there would be no way for you to develop your muscles further. Okay? I see a lot of hands in the air. How many of you who have your hand in the air on that one also simultaneously have done a little bit of studying or believing or applying any concept related to nucleus overload training? Or how many of you simultaneously believe that it's possible through certain types of training to increase the number of satellite cells in your muscles? Now, if you can increase nucleus numbers in a muscle, satellite cell numbers in a muscle, by a certain form of training, that is genetics changing. Do you understand that? When you have more of those components in the muscle, that's changed genetics. Okay, that's an example of logic. That's an example right there that it's so simple and so overlooked cataclysmically because of herd mentality and inability to think for oneself or reason or even trust one's own experience in life. That example is so simple and yet so rampantly overlooked all throughout the YouTube so-called natural fitness community. A lot of you believe in nucleus overload training and genetic max at the same time, which is an impossibility. Okay. Just an example for anybody with, a few brain cells to rub together on the logic side of the brain. I know this is controversial. I'm going to get some flack over this one. That's good. Flack is attention. Flack means that people who feel threatened by a message like this, it means there's an opportunity for them hidden behind what they're so afraid of. Okay, so moving on. Personal experience. For those of you who do believe such a thing is valid. After all, your personal experience is the only fucking thing you actually have in life, despite believing what somebody else wrote in a piece of paper. My personal experience. I've gone through many training systems, many phases, many levels of passion for, the weights, etc. I've gone for an entire decade without making any noticeable gains. Still didn't quit lifting, but I've gone that long and then made very good gains after all of that. by changing strategy, changing the way I think, drastically improving my health, mentally, physically, and spiritually, and opening up doors within myself, capacities, a bigger perception of what's possible, by differentiating from the herd so that I don't have the same limitations. Now, I'm not saying that no matter who you are, if you just keep picking up the weights, you're magically just going to keep developing more muscles. Not at all. Obviously, you have to give the muscle a damn good reason to continue to mutate into something that genetically it didn't even start out to be. It gets more challenging. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that I can predict for any of you how big you're going to get. I mean, that's up to you. And I'm not saying that everybody's genetics are the same. Not at all. Not at all. Not saying everybody's going to get the same results from the same training, the same diet, the same whatever. I'm just saying that if you believe there's a stopping point, then you're going to find yours pretty quick, okay? Because, in this trails into deeper understandings about life, but your cells are listening to your mind. Your mind is creating the reality. When I separate myself from humanity for years, like total hermit lone wolf style, that's when things get really interesting. That's when I accidentally achieve things and discover things. Well, not accidentally, but I stumble upon things, and sometimes I don't even realize how far I've differentiated my own mind from the collective until I come back and get a taste of what, the herd of humanity is busy believing and doing. And it's crazy, the contrast, when I come back and I pay attention to what people in general in any category of life believe and how it is their reality. Yeah, my brain structure is no doubt quite different, and that's what I'm trying to point out here. Like the placebo effect. People dismiss things. Oh, it was just the placebo effect. Just the placebo effect. Again, people, you're telling me the power of your mind could create the same effect as some expensive supplement somebody was taking, and at the end of the experiment we go, oh, it was just the placebo effect. Duh! That means the power of your mind can create the same effects as drugs, chemicals, okay? This is real. To some degree I've done that and achieved it. Changed my genetics, changed my potential, taken it further. People all the time, is that really possible naturally? Well, yes, it is. It is for me. Is it for you? I don't know. It would be if you had a mind like mine, a heart like mine. But is it possible for you? You tell me. You're the one that can tell me if it's possible for you. And if you say no, then that's your answer. And if you say yes, then that's your answer. And your answer could change because your energy, your mind, body, spirit, your beliefs, they can change, believe it or not, for better or worse. It's up to you to decide with your own opinion what's better or worse. But this is all the kind of stuff where, I'm going against the grain and I'm going against the herd. And what is the herd? In this case, in this example, on this subject, what is the herd? The herd is a lot of people who want to feel comfortable and safe, fitting in with what a majority of people who are never going to push themselves very far, who are never going to differentiate from the herd and do anything on their own as a pioneer. It's a comfortable place to hang out and be accepted. Oh, it's okay, bro, your genetics aren't good enough. Or, you're already at your genetic max, bro. It's not your fault, you're not getting any bigger. Dude, first of all, fault's fucking meaningless. Fault's just an opinion people ascribe to things. And now everybody's running around being afraid of being wrong, so they don't even have the courage to step out and do something special. When you think that you have to justify, trust me, if you do something that's a little beyond normal, people will try to get you to justify that. Almost like you don't have permission. You don't have permission in this world to be exceptional, do you? Well, guess whose permission you need? Only your own. Only your own. And when you find that, Everybody else's opinion, it's, it's their opinion. It's just noise. It's fine. People should have their own opinion, but your opinion, your true opinion, not the one you pretend you have, but the one you really carry inside, that's shaping your reality in all aspects of life. At a certain level of consciousness, you step up to what you might call a higher level, and you fully understand, you fully accept and understand and embody the reality that you have been creating your own reality this whole time. The people that, let's say you had a harsh experience and somebody did something bad to you. I didn't create that. They came and victimized me. Well, what you don't realize is that at a deeper level at your soul, you were already creating that experience before it happened, so that you could have that experience. Now, before we get way off into too much metaphysical stuff, this applies to everything. Your body, what you envision, what seems possible in your mind is what's possible for you. Somewhere in that range of what you picture being possible for your body, that's exactly what your future is right now, the way you have it set right now. The mind is the creator. Now, that being said, it's not as easy as just saying, okay, well, I'll just draw this crazy muscle cartoon in my head and then that'll be my reality. No, you can't lie to yourself. You have to actually change your mind. You have to actually change your subconscious programming. You have to actually change your access to your higher self. You have to actually do the internal work on yourself to change these things. That's what the metaphysical stuff is for, guys. Consciousness. Because I don't care what physical genetics you have. I don't care what drugs you even take. If your consciousness is very, very limited, your results in any endeavor in life, wherever your consciousness is at, it's going to put a limiting factor on those things. Try to explain this a different way. Let me ask you a question then. It's kind of rhetorical, interesting question to think about. The difference between there actually being a genetic limit versus you just finding one. Now, I realize with human words, and I don't necessarily use the most common word patterns, so let me try to reword that so it might make a little more sense if it didn't. There actually is, guys, a difference. Now, you may not be experiencing it in your reality currently, but there actually is a difference between it finding and experiencing some kind of genetic limit versus there actually being one written into the laws of the universe. Okay? What do I mean by that? Okay, say you're eating X amount of calories and you have X amount of testosterone, and your current strength levels and workouts are limited to whatever they're limited to, right? Now, if you stay with those exact things, the way you work out, the calories and the type of food you consume, the hormone levels you're at, you're going to find a balance point, right? Where you're not really changing anymore physically. So what do? You change your bro splits a little bit. Nothing's going to change, right? You have to make more drastic changes than this. This is why people get stuck. This is why Grandpa doesn't like technology. I don't understand them video games and I don't understand that internet. Back in my day, we just walked up hills both way in the snow and blah, blah, blah. Well, what good is that doing you now, Gramps? All you're saying is I refuse to adapt and change and grow, so I'm turning to dust and leaving. Okay? This is true of humans in any aspect of life. When you stagnate, you are dying. You're either expanding or you're contracting, okay? You're shrinking or you're growing in any area. Or you're calcified and you're done. You're stuck. You're cement. This all starts in the mind. Wherever you're cemented in your mind where you have a limited belief that somebody else put there, because trust me, none of you have proven this shit, that there's a genetic limit. You just all believe it because somebody else that tells you they're an authority and you accepted that they're the authority to tell you reality, you accepted it from them. I know some of you are going to want to get defensive about this because your little petty ego doesn't want to acknowledge how simple and weak it is, but that's the truth. And you are not your ego, so please transcend that shit and don't act like a baby because I'm calling you out on this. I've done it. Everybody in this world's done it. Everybody in this world accepted a whole bunch of shit when you were little before you even had the potential to even discern, and it became your reality before you could even question it. Furthermore, your society never taught you to question or self-teach or self-analyze or anything. They've kept you distracted doing the opposite of that. So it's kind of a rare person on this planet that actually knows what it is to generate original thought. Most of you, when you think you're generating an original thought, you're not. Your subconscious is regurgitating shit that you absorb somewhere else. It's not yours. You didn't even put it there, and yet it's your fucking reality. Welcome to Earth. This is one of the interesting challenges here, one of the interesting conundrums. It's an opportunity for growth, because if you can wake up and take responsibility and empowerment of your own mind in a world like this, you just stepped up several levels as a consciousness. And you're going to keep that eternally, wherever you're going next. Okay. Yeah, so my next angle to hit this from. Okay, like I say, I went out, 10 years making no gains because I tried it everybody else's way. At a certain point, every common program that's written out there, they're all composed of the same basic elements, and none of them have the courage to stray very far into anything new. But I do. So, like I said, one time I did 18 months straight of 30 to 60 sets a day with light to medium weight on every muscle group, and that's all I did for 18 months, just high-ass fucking volume. After that, started getting great new gains. Even during that, I started getting new gains. And after that, when I went back to more lifting heavier shit the way I like to, all new gains. You know why? More nucleus, more satellite cells in the muscles. Different genetics than I had before I did that phase. Oh. Again, let's apply a little logic in a society who talks a big game and knows nothing about it. Just like the way you guys term a phrase common sense, and it's completely fucking uncommon. Welcome to Earth. Anyway, another common sense analogy, another bit of common sense. People say, okay, naturals have a genetic limit, but drug users don't, because they keep changing their genetics using those drugs. The growth hormone and the androgens and this and that, they're adding more cells into their muscles, they're adding more capacities, they're changing their genetics, right? Well, again, if you have testicles between your legs, you have steroids too, just less of them. If you know how to work out and diet and intermittent fast and bust ass and do saunas and a variety of supplements, you can get your growth hormone pretty high too. In fact, as high as you would want it. Before you see, your body cuts it off before it starts getting to that level where it makes you insulin resistant, and it gives you weird gut growth and unexplained strange body changes and weird shit. Your body's smart enough to cut it off just below that level to where you can get all the benefits, none of the negatives. Plus, it's a living form of growth hormone peptide that your body built. It's alive. It's not synthetic like the shit you buy. So, if you're feeling sorry for yourself that you can't afford growth hormone, or that I'm a poor me, I'm a natty, I have all these limits, look, fucking educate yourself, okay, on how to get your growth hormone high multiple times every day. And then, either do that or just admit to yourself that you'd rather just have an excuse. There's a lot of people in this world who would rather just be sick and lay on a bed and be taken care of by somebody else. That's how they are. That's their mentality. Let me announce something I'm going to be doing in another video along those lines to really bring out this point. I was born with Hirschsprung's disease. And the doctors assured my mother, after I barely survived that, through multiple surgeries, which I died during and came back and began this rather interesting mystical experience of a life I'm having. They assured her that no one who has Hirschsprung's disease ever grows up to be anything other than very scrawny and weak and feeble. Okay? I was assured, my destiny, in the hands of the doctors and all their science and facts, that I would be a weak, feeble, sickly, wimpy human being for the rest of my life. Do you know why I'm not? Because when I was laying on a couch sick all the time and weak and hurting as a kid, I did not approve of it. I decided in my willpower, being weaker than other people, not for me. I am going to figure out in this life how to make myself have high vitality. I'm going to have the highest vitality, okay? I'm not going to spend my time sick and feeble. I hate it. And yet I've met a lot of people that are exactly the opposite. They love it. They manifest it, they create it, and they spend the rest of their life in a sick bed being taken care of because that's what they want. And I'm not even judging it. I'm just saying willpower. Willpower and the power of the mind create your reality. Now people accuse me of having the best fucking genetics anybody ever had. Oh, it's no credit to me. I'm just some kind of fucking freak anomaly. Yeah, I was a freak anomaly. I was too sickly to live when I was born. Look up Hirschsprung's disease. I'm sure you can't spell it. Soon enough I'll do a video on that and explain and let you know how truly debilitating that shit really is for all the other people out there walking this planet that were born with Hirschsprung's. Furthermore, mine was one of the worst cases that the surgeons had even seen up to that point, okay? So by all your statistics and math and studies and all the things that so many of you ascribe yourselves to because the authorities say so, now that's your reality. If I had that kind of a mind, I would be a weak, miserable, sickly little shit if I was even still alive, okay? I don't mean to sound like I'm getting all aggressive on a soapbox, but it's honestly aggression and that kind of energy was necessary for me to not spend the rest of my life being fucking feeble. I get angry and I get up off that sick bed and I make something out of my body. I tell my cells, no, we're not doing this. Okay? I'm sorry for all the pain and horrible agony we've been through, but we're not going to spend the rest of our life being some kind of feeble creature. We're going to be stronger. And over the years and decades, as I've sorted out a lot of issues and conflicts I've had within myself, I have been manifesting more and more of that reality to the point where people don't recognize me now for who people that know me for who I used to be, okay? I've changed so much, it's absolutely unbelievable, okay? I could start telling stories, but they sound unbelievable, and this video's getting pretty long anyway. But just understand, people, there's always going to be a few anomalies like me walking among you on your planet telling you all that if you could pull your heads out of the collective, anything is possible. And most of the time they just get rocks thrown at them or people light them on fire. But the truth is, down deep, you all want what I'm talking about. You're just scared of it. You're scared of your power. You're scared of the responsibility that comes with it. And you're not healthy enough right now. You're not healthy enough right now to accept things that are too good to be true in your reality. This is why I offer so much physical health advice on this channel. Because that's where I had to start. I had to do a hell of a lot of healing on this physical body before my mind and spirit were able to even make a connection, and I was able to start enlightening myself and tapping into other dimensions of things, which that's when life finally started to get good. Finally started to make up for all the agony that had been up to that point. When you come into this world as an infant and you're in tremendous pain and suffering and you have no words for it, all you have is pain, and you go through multiple surgeries and you even die and come back, your formative years, the first year of life that supposedly forms 95% of your personality or whatever, mine was all suffering and torture, okay? So if you had known me in earlier decades of my life, the vibration that I carried then, the kind of crowd I ran with, the kind of experiences and people that I attracted into my life, a lot of them are dead now. They did not survive through that vibration. Something kept putting me back together when I'd smash myself to the point where most wouldn't have survived. The context of the change that I've seen, okay, in my own reality gives me a perception of what's possible. It's very, very uncommon for most people. And it applies to this subject as with all others, guys. This is a life lesson. I'm just using the context of the belief of genetic max. Oh, my wrist is only this big, so I'll only ever have a 17-inch arm. You know, if you had never heard that stupid ass shit, you wouldn't have stopped at 17. But now that program's in your mind and it's your reality until you find a way to reprogram. I get tired of seeing my fellow human beings limited by shit like this, but then I also realize at the higher level, it's your choice when you're ready to expand beyond that, okay? I've had to go through 19 levels of hell to be where I am, so I don't expect that everybody else is just ready for a higher reality. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't been through so much hell that there was a fire under my ass, a torturous fire under my ass for decades that I better find a deeper meaning and reason for this fucking life, or it's not going to be worth all the pain I've been through. And now that I'm in a so much better place and I don't have the words for the things that I've been able to access and experience, I'm doing what I can to bring those out there who are ready for more, however far they're ready to go with it in this world. Again, this is not me trying to force anything. If the things I'm saying in this video are a big offensive problem for you and you're going to come on here and feel the need to attack, I'm probably not even going to point out to you how much of a useless projection that is. I'll probably just delete your message because there's no point. There's no point. That's your reality, and you're trying to push it on somebody else by projecting, no, that's not possible and you're wrong, and limits, 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 limits. Look, dude, I left that reality a long time ago, and I'm in a much better one now. So if you feel the need still to spew that shit all over this page, you need to understand that that's completely about you and zero about me. Okay? And for those of you that are feeling this, you're feeling the inspiration, you're ready to, on some level, you're ready to open up to bigger possibilities, that's good. Work with that, okay? That's what this is about. This is about stretching your bubble of your mind a little further so that the programs that have been installed in this world to limit you so much from your true potential that you're not even aware of, we can start to expand beyond some of those programs and rewrite them, okay? So if you understand what I'm saying here, if this clicks with you, let me know in the feedback. Give me your questions, your points, what it brings up for you. If you're just going to criticize it and give me the same repeated rhetoric like a parrot that you learned somewhere else that isn't your own thought that I've seen 100 million times, you can expect no response because that's just you talking to yourself. And I love you and I mean well for you, but I'm not going to come down and join you at that low vibration. I've been there and I've been into places way, way darker and worse than that. I've explored a lot of things, my friend, and if I already know everything you're going to say to me, and I already know where it comes from and how empty it is, I'm not going to waste any time with a conversation on that, okay? You'll be showing me that you're not ready for this, and that's fine. But for those of you who are ready for understandings like this, and yes, this ties into the meditation and the astral traveling and the changing of your DNA, unlocking more of the strands of what a bunch of ignorant monkeys have been calling junk DNA that's not. It's just not connected because you haven't made the connections and started using it yet. If you prefer those super limiting beliefs to let you off the hook in life, that there's really no responsibility for you to make anything out of your own incarnation, very well. You're an eternal being and you're going to have infinite chances to do differently. And sooner or later you will when you're bored just being the complacent cattle, okay? Role. That's a role that most people have to play, so that a few people can play the role of rising above it all. It's all just roles on this planet you can play for your own soul's growth. So you let me know what this brings up in you. Show me something about where you're at. But please understand, when I believed in things like genetic limits, I was very stuck. And when I got the hell away from everybody and found my real self, then I wasn't stuck anymore. You can define your own reality and find that it's very flexible and fluid, and it can be changed with your willpower, or you can allow forces outside of yourself to control, limit, diminish, herd you around, waste your life how they see fit, or any degree in between. And all experiences are to be honored, so I'm not judging anybody. I'm not saying there's a better way. This is a call to those of you who feel what I'm saying and would like to know more about this way, the way of actually differentiating your mind from the herd and becoming free, and finding that you, in fact, are a divine being, and there is no saying, there can never be a book written about what your limits are. I know plenty of books are written, but they're all going to be dust in the future because they're just shit written on paper. What you really are is constantly changing. If you believe, one more before I go, because I love you all. If you believe in such a thing as there's a genetic limitation to your muscles to where they can't develop any further, and yet that's the same as believing that evolution doesn't occur anymore on any level, that there's no physical, no mental, no spiritual, and I don't care which dimension of it you prefer to look at, or all of them, like I do, but you might as well believe that nothing's evolving at all either. Nothing can change, right? Everything's stuck and cemented. There's a ceiling on it. You're a robot. You don't change. You're not a living, conscious, evolving thing. You're just a fucking, drone piece of machinery with a set limit on what it can do that can't change its own genetics, that can't change its own body using its mind. And that's a reality for a lot of people, but it's not mine. You guys want to enter my dimension, there's a lot more things that are possible. And I'm ready to start bringing people into it, through the door, closer, closer, closer. New dimensions of life. I'm talking different people walking around physically on the same earth and yet experiencing entirely different realities. For those with an ear to hear and an eye to see. So, that's me shooting the shit out of some more myths and, reaching out to some hearts and minds to see where we're at as a crew here. This is a very unique channel. You guys are a very unique crew, those that are even with me so far, to even be called here. So let me know. Let me know if this is clicking, if the connections are there, and if we're ready to do something with it. Okay. So that's my big old speech on that. For this guy, there's not genetic max. No. And I'll prove it. Proof is something that, again, you can change your opinion about what counts as proof for you just so you can hide from it, but I will show it, okay? I'll show it on this channel. The first time I showed any of my muscles, people were like, I don't even know if that's possible naturally, he might be lying, and then everybody said, well, he's definitely at his genetic max. Really? Okay. This channel has, poses from starting about 2 months ago when I started the channel, or maybe not even that long ago when I started this channel. And, I'm doing this Nether by the Day bodybuilding program with those of you that are doing it with me. So when it's all done, we'll do some similar poses and we'll see what changed on me. And there will be some kinds of improvements in some places. There will be. I wouldn't be doing this otherwise. Okay? I don't have the passion and the vision and the creativity and the guidance that I have on it for nothing. All right? All right, over and out for now, guys. I love you. Let me know who's with me. And, if it's too much for you and you're just filled with doubt, that's okay. Like I said, if you're just going to post a bunch of negative shit, for those that are starting to develop some kind of faith and move on into something better, I'll probably just delete that shit because I don't need you pulling, grab. Here's the other thing about society and herd mentality. Even in families, this happens. Somebody starts to rise up into a higher level of life, and the people around them have one or two reactions. Either they'll start to climb that ladder with you and step up into a better reality, or they'll grab you by the ankles and try to pull you back into that puddle of shit. So if you're going to come on this channel and take those that are starting to have the faith and courage to realize that they're more than they've been told in this world, and you're going to come try to grab them by the ankles and pull them back down, I'll probably just delete your shit, okay? Now, if you have... That being said, please, express your opinion. Don't hesitate to express your opinion, whatever it is. I'm just letting you know. If I think it's only going to discourage people that are starting to find that there is more to them, I'm not really into that kind of content, okay? For the sake of those who are ready to grow. So, let me know what you think, guys. All right. I love y'all. Over and out for now.